Let's assume that this is your growth vine and these are the 4 stages of your growth. All right. So at stage 1, what is typically the founder is doing? The founder is validating the idea. They have come up with an idea around which they want to create a business model, but they are not sure whether this idea is going to work or not. All right. So at this stage, the founder gets a purpose. The purpose is to solve a problem and create a business around solving that problem. All right. Now let's assume that you have validated the idea works, and you have also got some customers who are willing to pay for what you're offering in your business model by solving a particular problem. So at this stage, you have a stable income, and you also get purpose plus employment because your business is giving you some income. So your business is now employing you. All right. At stage 3, you have established what are the marketing channels through which you can access your customers, and you are putting in all the ammo to attract more and more people who belong to the target customer persona that you have identified. And this is where you start scaling, and at this stage your business is going to give you purpose, employment plus wealth. At stage 4, you have a set business model. All right. Your business has very little dependency on you, and there are different processes, there are different systems in place, there are different people, and there is no critical dependency on a single individual. So there is a proper business model that you have established. You know your target customer personas, you know the marketing channels to reach out to them, you know how to get the fulfillment done, you know how to renew the contracts. There's some predictability around the business that you can expect in the near business cycle. All right. So you have a set business model, and this is where you want to be. And at this stage, your business gives you purpose plus employment plus wealth plus freedom. All right. Now let's see how at each stage of this growth vine, to say, the analytic stack of any organization is going to evolve. I hope we can agree that at each stage of the business, there are going to be different questions. Okay. So the questions that a business person or a founder is trying to answer at stage 1, that is validation, is going to be very different the questions that the founder is trying to answer at stage 4. It is applicable to most of the business, even for businessmen like Elon Musk or a company like Tesla or SpaceX. The questions that the founder would have had at the early stage of the business would be very different to the questions that the founder is now facing at this stage of the business. Okay. So since the questions at each stage are going to be different, and basically through analytics, you are primarily trying to answer these questions with some data so that there is an educated guess towards any kind of decisions that you want to take. That's why at each stage of the business growth, you would have a different analytics setup. Okay. You cannot, first of all, you would not have resources to have an analytics stack that you can have at stage 4, at stage 1. And obviously, if you stick to the analytics setup at stage 1 till your stage 3 or stage 4, then you are losing out or missing out a lot on the data that you can have, and you are missing out a lot on the optimization opportunities. Okay. So we have to first understand this, and this is going to be the foundation of this discussion, that at each stage there are going to be different questions, and consequently, to answer those different questions, the analytic stack, the analytic setup at each stage is also going to be different. Okay. So let's look at the analytics stack, the kind of questions that you would have at stage 1. Okay, validation. So you are validating your business idea. What do we mean by that? So either you would have an original solution to a problem, or you would have an improved solution to a problem. So the solution already exists, but your solution is the improved version of the existing solution. Okay. So first of all, you need to have a problem worth solving. You should not have a solution which is in search of a problem. That is going to be a failed business model. And at this stage, this is what exactly you're trying to establish, that you are solving a problem which is worth solving. Okay. Now, when it comes to digital, many people make this mistake that they call e-commerce as a business. E-commerce is not a business. E-commerce is just a channel to deliver a solution more conveniently. Okay, e-commerce is a channel. If the problem itself is not painful for the people, then just by having e-commerce as a channel, you're not going to solve that problem. So e-commerce is not a business. E-commerce is a channel, right? So, as I said, that if the problem is not painful enough, nobody cares about getting it solved conveniently. So, at this stage, before setting up any kind of store, before spending any money in marketing or doing anything around digital, speak directly to your customers. Try to understand whether this is a problem which is actually painful for them, such that the strangers, not your friends, not your family, but the strangers for whom you are trying to create this solution are comfortable in buying from you. And it's not going to be something free. They should be comfortable in paying you. All right. So speak directly to your target customers, the target segment of people you are trying to solve the problem for, before investing anything in a store or digital marketing. Okay. So let's assume that you have done that. Congratulations. You have validated your idea and now you have set up a store for that. Okay. So are people able to complete the desired actions on your store? This is the question that you want to get answered through analytics. Are all the stages of the user journey loading properly? This is the second question, right? So you have a store, there are different milestones in the user journey. Are all those stages loading properly? Is your user journey easier than your competition? Now, when I say competition, you need to be logical over here. You need to have a relevant competition. You are just starting an e-commerce store, and at the start itself, you cannot say Amazon is your competition. The technology stack, the resources, the marketing, the manpower, everything that they have, you cannot afford initially when you're just starting out an e-commerce store. My best wish is that down the line you are able to do that. But at stage one, if you say that Amazon is your competition and you want to create a user journey that is better than Amazon, most likely it's not going to happen. So be realistic. And these are the questions that you should get answered through your analytics. That are people able to complete the desired actions, the conversions, the product loads, the form fills, etc. Are all the stages of your user journey loading properly? Is your user journey easier than your logical competition? Okay. So what kind of analytics you need at this stage? You need your store analytics. This is typically going to be your backend. You need your UX analytics, which can be done through Google Analytics and other heat map or session recording tools like Microsoft Clarity or Hotjar. Okay. So when I say store analytics, so this is, as I said, is going to be your backend analytics. So with this, you are going to get your gross sales, your net sales, your successful orders, average order value, quantity sold, refunds, taxes, shipping costs, etc. So this is going to give you some key performance indicators around the health of your business. You need to start tracking them early on. Okay. Then most likely the tools that you are going to use are going to be your backend analytics tools like Shopify Analytics, WooCommerce Analytics, Magento, BigCommerce, etc., etc., etc. Okay. And these numbers then you can get from your store analytics. You should also look at the technical performance of your website. So some KPIs or metrics around technical performance can be largest contentful paint load, total blocking time, time to interactive. Okay. And the tools that you can use for this are going to be Google Lighthouse, GT Metrics, Pingdom tools, etc., etc. So you want to check this once in a while, every week or twice a week, something like that. Because if your technicals are not sorted and if you pump in any kind of money for digital marketing, you are going to burn that money. All right. So you need to know your store analytics. You need to know the technical performance of your store. And then you need to have a web analytics tool like Google Analytics, Pivot Pro. And with that, you can see the traffic volume, the other things like product views, add to carts, checkouts, transactions, conversion rate, funnel conversion rate, overall by various products and at a store level. And this will give you a sense of how people are engaging with your website, how they are able to complete the milestones, where they are getting stuck, what are the friction points in your journey, so that you can optimize that and improve your conversion rates to get your store ready to pump in any money in digital marketing. Okay. There are some qualitative analytics tools as well, like which give you session recording and heat maps. So the free tool over here, which is the most popular right now at the time of creation of this video, is Microsoft Clarity. You can also use Hotjar, which is freemium. Crazy Egg, it's paid. There are many tools out there. You can just Google and find that out. So at this stage, this is how your stack should be. You would have your store analytics, your technical analytics, your quantitative analytics, and your qualitative analytics. So let's say you are able to validate your idea. Congratulations on that. And now we need to start doing digital marketing. And at this stage, you would start having a stable income. You will have purpose plus employment. Let's look at the analytics stack, which is suitable for this stage of your business journey. So, are you liking the video so far? Please subscribe. So, you have identified your target customer persona. You have also a stable e-commerce store that is free of any errors or technical glitches and allows your target customer persona to complete the user journey and so that they can seamlessly convert and get what they are looking for. You have identified at least one channel to reach your target customer persona. So you have identified that this is going to be the channel, and now you are ready to invest in digital marketing to reach more of the people who belong to your target customer persona. Now you need to start thinking in the form of a funnel. All right. So you need to identify the key milestones that are there in your customer's journey and the metrics to quantify those milestones. You also need to monetize each of these metrics and milestones. I'll cover that in some detail in the coming slides. All right. So how does a typical funnel start? The typical funnel starts with an impression. So for most of the marketing channels, impression is relevant. Let's say you have email as an important marketing channel that you have identified, then email opens can be an impression. All right. After an impression, if your impression appeals to a customer in the target persona, they will click and interact with that impression. That click would lead to a session on your website. If the landing page experience of your website is good, that session would lead to an engaged session, right? And if the customer is having the right mindset, your offer is good, then that engagement can lead to a consideration. And if everything falls in place, this consideration will lead to a conversion. Now, when you are running digital marketing, you are pumping in a lot of resources in the form of time, money, energy. You need to ensure that each stage of your conversion funnel is doing its job properly to assist a prospect towards becoming your customer. All right. So you need to ensure that your marketing efforts and your user experience are in perfect harmony. All right. So you need to find out what's the cost per each step of the funnel, and you also need to find out the stepwise conversion rate. These two metrics will give you a feedback on the performance of your entire UX funnel or marketing funnel, and then you can pinpoint where you need to optimize the user experience or where you need to optimize your marketing efforts, your campaign, your messaging, your creatives, etc., so that you reach a stage where you have better harmony between your marketing and user experience, and your marketing efforts get stabilized and become profitable so that you can put in more money and more investment in that to reach to the next stage of your business cycle. All right. So the two metrics are going to be cost per each stage of the funnel and stepwise conversion rate. And you will also break down these metrics with various key dimensions. Dimensions like by campaign, by creative, by ad, by keyword, by landing page, by product, by location, by device category, by payment method, etc., etc. So when you do that, you can compare how for the various marketing efforts, how for the various campaigns, for the various landing pages, your efforts are getting you the results, and where you need to put in the optimization to improve the customer journey to make your marketing more profitable. All right. So by this stage, then you have your technical analytics sorted, your store analytics sorted, your quantitative UX analytics sorted, your qualitative UX analytics sorted, and you also now bring in marketing analytics. Okay. So with marketing analytics, you will have new tools. And the first tool that you would have in your stack is a tag manager. Particularly if you are planning to, if you're running paid ads, and if you are, or you're planning to run paid ads, then you need a tag manager, because you need to ensure that the tracking that is happening for your marketing pixels and the tracking that is happening for your analytics is in sync with each other. Only then you can have a proper funnel, and only then you can analyze the data that is getting collected by the marketing tool as well as the analytics to do any kind of optimization. Okay. So there are various benefits of using a tag manager. Almost 90% of the websites who are running digital marketing, they are using a tag manager of some form. So the first benefit is that you get consistency across your marketing and analytics pixels. By consistency, I mean the consistency in the tracking logic. So when are you sending the data for a particular user action across your marketing and analytics pixels, you can have a single consistent logic. All right. The second thing is that you can streamline the implementation for all your marketing and analytics tracking. So it reduces a lot of redundancy, and it centralizes a lot of things. So you can streamline your efforts, and you do not need to repeat this page by page or pixel by pixel to identify what needs to be done. And it's very scalable as well, because as your analytics infrastructure, your marketing infrastructure is growing, the tag manager will give you a decent foundation so that you can scale your infrastructure along these platforms. All right. So for most companies at this stage, the tag manager of choice is going to be Google Tag Manager. It is free, but highly effective in doing what it promises to do. There is a good community support. It has plethora of tags and triggers and destinations that you can configure in it, and it's pretty easy to use. You can find plenty of content and resources if you want to work with Google Tag Manager. It's also not that difficult to find people who are experts in Google Tag Manager and can take care of this for you. Okay. The second thing that you would want in your marketing analytics stack once you start running digital marketing is dashboards. So if your platforms through which you are running your digital marketing, the popular platforms like Google Ads, Facebook Ads, these have the APIs which allow to send the data to any kind of dashboarding platform. But if you are using something which is very unique, particularly this can be applicable with email marketing platforms, then you need to check if your APIs allow to send the data to an external platform with which you can create a dashboard. And if you're planning to scale your efforts, you are planning to increase your digital marketing, then dashboards are going to be necessary. And if you want to centralize all the data points at one place, then dashboards are going to be necessary. Because if you are going to increase your marketing platforms and your analytics platforms, then it becomes very difficult to access platform by platform and make sense of the data by each platform, as well as to look at the overall picture of what is happening in your business. So the dashboard is very helpful and effective over here. So with a dashboard, you will save plenty of time because you do not need to navigate across several platforms. Everything is centralized at one place. So when you start using a dashboard, data analysis becomes actionable and sustainable, because without a dashboard, if you're going platform by platform, then it will act as a barrier for you to get that motivation to look at all these platforms and crunch that data and try to make sense of that data. So data analysis without a dashboard in most cases takes a backseat, and individuals then just start working on the basis of their gut feeling and intuition, which can work when the team is small. But as the team scales, and if you want to create something which is sustainable, then you need to start looking by data so that everyone is aligned towards the North Star of the company. Right. So this leads to data democracy and accessibility. So when everyone can use a dashboard, then all the teams know what is happening. There is proper feedback loop. And with this data democracy, you can align everything towards the mission of your organization. The popular dashboard platform at this stage for a company can be Looker Studio. It is one of the most popular platforms right now, and it has plenty of third-party connectors like Power My Analytics, Supermetrics, Zapier, using which you can get the data from various platforms into Looker Studio and create something which is centralized. Looker Studio, just like Google Tag Manager, is free to use. The third-party connectors are paid, but it's a decent platform. And again, around this as well, you can find plenty of experts who can create these dashboards for you. It has a decent community support, decent resources, and it's a fairly decent platform for the companies at this stage of the growth. And it will give you a good foundation towards inculcating a data-driven culture in your organization. All right, very well. So now you have purpose plus employment sorted, you have a stable income. Whatever you have identified as your digital marketing channel, you will now start scaling that. You will now start putting in more money. And with that, you will get purpose plus employment plus wealth. Let's look at the analytics stack for that. If still not done, then please subscribe. Okay, so you have identified your target customer persona, you have a stable e-commerce store, you have identified at least one channel to reach to your target persona wherein you are running digital marketing. Okay, now you want to put in more firepower on what you have discovered as something that is giving you results. Okay, right? So you have your technical performance analytics, you have store analytics, you have user behavior analytics, you have marketing analytics. You are going to do more and better of what you are already doing when you have to scale. Plus, the new thing that you are going to introduce, the first one is going to be experimentation and personalization. So, experimentation and personalization. This is basically where conversion optimization happens, wherein you have a dedicated function solely to systematically discover better performing variants of your digital efforts. All right. So, this is going to be an ongoing function to continually hunt for increments and enhancements. The most systematic and sure shot approach to ensure your digital assets improve by default, because this is a dedicated function which the only purpose to optimize, to make things better. So if you have a dedicated function, you have a team which is behind this thing to discover only optimization opportunities, only to improve things, then by default this is bound to happen, right? So the most systematic and sure shot approach to ensure your digital assets are up to date and advanced. So by default, when you are running experiments, when you are continuously looking for opportunities to optimize, your stack is going to be up to date as compared to your logical competition, and it's going to be advanced as well, right? This is also the most systematic approach to ensure that you don't veer off in the wrong direction. How? I'll explain that. So when you start doing experimentation and personalization, so you have been collecting all that data. Now it's time to analyze that data proactively and to form a list of hypotheses. Okay, so you, based on your data, based on your research, based on the competition, the industry trends, etc., you will prepare a list of hypotheses that if you do these changes in your marketing or in your user experience, then your site is going to improve, right? And then you're going to prioritize these hypotheses. Typically, the way to prioritize the hypothesis is by a framework called ICE, where I stands for impact, C stands for confidence, and E stands for ease. I simply means if you score this on 1 to 10, then if this hypothesis turns out to be true, then what can be the impact on the business? C, confidence, is what is the data that you have to score this hypothesis? Is it just based on your intuition, or do you have data to back these hypotheses? And E is simply how easy it is to test or implement this hypothesis. So when your entire team is going to use data, is going to prepare a list of hypotheses, and they are going to together prioritize what they need to change, what they need to update, then the intuition part goes away. And the team is more systematic and more disciplined in identifying opportunities for growth and doing that in a way that there is kind of a system to improve these things, right? So once you have the hypotheses, you have the list prioritized, you start experimenting. So there are various ways to experiment depending on your business model, your traffic, and other things. But you are not just going to implement that based on your gut feeling, which most companies do. That you are going to experiment everything, and that is how you are going to ensure that you do not veer off in the wrong direction. Because if you just implement everything based on your gut feeling, or if your team is doing that, then what if the changes affect something that was working fine, and you disturb that thing, and then that starts affecting you in a negative manner? So when you experiment it, you have data to validate whether the changes you are making are ensuring positive results for your business, or they are not ensuring any kind of positive results for your business. So one thing is that you repeat this consistently. So you keep on looking for hypotheses, you deliberately and proactively look for changes to improve your conversion rates, and then you experiment these hypotheses to ensure that you have proper data and confidence that whatever you are going to make as a change on your website or on your in your marketing, it's going to be positive for your business. So this is the most systematic approach towards ensuring that consistently you are improving your performance. Okay, so experimentation and personalization is a First thing, you can have use these tools like VWO, Convert, AB Tasty, Omni Convert. And typically at this stage of the growth, when you're just starting, you might not yet start using enterprise level softwares. So these are some of the good options that you can go ahead with. All right. So next thing in this stage is you want to have customer data platforms. Okay. So with customer data platforms, you can start creating the first party data, and you can also do omni-channel marketing orchestration. So if you have sold something to somebody, right, you do not want to offer them a discount coupon after the purchase, which can be a bad experience. So you want to ensure that everything is synced properly, right? And you also start creating a first party data, which you can later on leverage to create your lookalike audiences or do any kind of machine learning when you have the resources for that, and use this first party data, that is your data, which is not dependent on any algorithms or anything like that. This is your data, and use it for increasing the customer lifetime value and learning from that data to refine your marketing and UX efforts. All right. With most of the customer data platforms, you will also be able to do to an extent the server side tagging, for example, your Facebook CAPI, Google enhanced conversions, etc. So to an extent, to a limited extent, the CDPs will also enable you, most of the modern CDPs enable you to do that for these server side taggings as well. I would not suggest advanced level server side tagging at this stage because it needs additional resources. But most of the CDPs at this stage, if you go with, for example, Klaviyo, Segment, Rudderstack, Telium, then they also enable you to do some kind of server side tagging, and you can do your first party data development and omnichannel marketing orchestration. Okay. So that should be the analytics stack for a business that is scaling. And once you have scaled your business to a satisfactory level, such that you can optionally exit the business, then you have a set business model, and there is a very less dependency on you. And at this stage, you have got your purpose, your employment, your wealth, and your freedom. All right. Let's see how the analytics stack would evolve when the business has reached such a stage. So by this time, you have already identified a target customer persona, or maybe several of them. You have a stable e-commerce store which is providing an experience which is considerably superior to an average player in your industry. You have identified at least one channel for each of these target personas, and you can put in decent firepower, which is significantly higher to the average player in your industry when it comes to the digital efforts for all the channels to reach out to your customers. And you have an in-house team or an agency partner like Vinci to work with on individual business functions. And that's why the C-suite or you as a business owner do not have a lot of dependency in the business model. So once you have scaled, then you have not one but several sales and marketing channels, which enables you to reach out to your customers across several touch points. You can have a proper omni-channel marketing orchestration to remain in their consideration set for the services that you're offering. Okay. You can pay above the industry average to your team and partners, and that enables you to attract top tier talent, and that enables you to get a business model that is not critically dependent on individuals. Because if for any XYZ reasons an individual decides to part ways with your company, you have the resources to attract someone who can replace that person. Okay, you can invest in innovation and good to have functions to peg you as a superior brand. So you can invest in a customer experience that is premium, that is better than the industry average that your competition is offering, and that's why you would be perceived as a superior brand. You can predict with a fair bit of accuracy the next few business cycles. So understand this thing, that if you have reached a stage where you have scaled your business and now you're moving towards a set business model which is running independent of you, then obviously you have done that in a very systematic manner with a fair bit of strategy. So by this stage, you are mature enough so that you know what's happening in your industry, you know what's happening in your business, and you can predict with a fair bit of accuracy the next few business cycles, not only for your individual business, but also for the industry as a whole. You have a size, you have a base such that your incremental gains can be more than absolute gains of many players in your industry. So any gains that you make at that base, the incremental gains, they are going to be more than the absolute gains of many players in your industry. All right. So this is typically going to be the state of your business when you are deciding to stabilize the business model, while you have already scaled it to an extent. So you would have your technical performance analytics, you would have your store analytics, you would have your user behavior analytics, you would have your marketing analytics, you would do experimentation and personalization, you would have customer data platforms as well. But whatever you do is going to be of enterprise grade. Why? Because now the stakes are higher for you. You need to ensure that whatever you're doing is cutting edge. You need to ensure that whatever you're doing is compliant with the regulations and the norms that are there in your industry, that are there in your region. The stakes are higher for you as well as for your customers and partners. That's why you need to ensure that everything that you do is top notch, is enterprise grade. Okay. Other than that, you would also introduce new things, obviously. Now, the first thing that you can introduce is proper server-side tagging, which will give you better data accuracy and better data governance. As I mentioned earlier, that to an extent, you would do server-side tagging with CDPs as well. But now you can do to a more full-blown extent when it comes to server-side tagging, because you would have the resources to onboard the tools as well as hire the people for executing this. You will also do machine learning modeling. So let's just start with understanding machine learning modeling. So the first thing that you need to run any kind of machine learning modeling is the volume of data. If your volume of data is not statistically significant, then you cannot do machine learning. So if you have already scaled your business, you have several data platforms, you have several data sources, then you can run algorithms to discover opportunities in the gold mine of data that you have. If you want to learn more about how to do machine learning and you want to read about the various case studies, then all the enterprise grade softwares that are there. So you can look at Google Marketing Cloud 360, you can look at Adobe Experience Platform, Tilium, Rudderstack, etc. Just look at the customer success stories of these platforms, and that will give you a fair bit of understanding that once you have a rich repository of data, then how you can run machine learning modelings on top of it and get those incremental optimization opportunities. Okay, so by this stage, you should also have a CTO, and your CTO would decide based on your budget, based on your business nature, and based on the preferences, which stack to go ahead when you want to enable machine learning in your system. So you can go with BigQuery, AWS, Snowflake, Microsoft Azure, depending on your preference. Server-side tagging, so you would have better data accuracy and better data governance. You would also need that, particularly in regions like GDPR, EU basically, where GDPR is very strict. You might need server-side tagging to ensure that you are complying with everything. Some examples of server-side tagging, which you would also be able to do through CDPs, can be Facebook API, Google Ads Enhanced Conversions, some tools like Stay, Pelevar that are also there, which you can also use in the previous stage. But just to give an understanding of server-side tagging, I'm using these examples. So to explain server-side tagging, I'm taking the example of Facebook API, wherein without servers, typically what you do is you inject a pixel of Facebook on your website, and when a customer visits the website, then the data is sent to the Facebook server through the Facebook pixel, right, through the web browser. But in case of server-side tagging, instead of sending that data through the web browser, you send the data to a tracking server, to an analytics server, and then from there the data is relayed to the endpoint, right? So in this case, this is a conversion API, and that's why it's called Facebook CAPI, Facebook Conversion API. But it can be applicable to any API which allows for it, any pixel that allows for it, any marketing or analytics endpoint that allows for it. And this gives you more control over what you are sending. You can process that data, enrich that data, and then send that data to the relevant marketing or analytics endpoint. So I'm not suggesting server-side tagging at earlier stages, because you will not only need to invest in the tools, but also you need skilled people who can manage this for you, right? So unless you have the resources for it, the benefits are not going to be there for you. All right, so congratulations. With that, you should have a full stack of digital analytics. Just a recap. So at stage one, when you are validating the idea, you want to ensure that your store loads properly. You want to observe that customers are able to complete the actions that you want them to take. You want to ensure that the various KPIs around your business are getting tracked, etc., so that you can create a foundation to start running digital marketing. And that will take you to the next stage, where you will start running digital marketing and you will start discovering what kind of marketing strategy works for you. So you will not need to have a funnel mindset. You will also have marketing analytics, and you will also introduce tools like tag management and dashboards. I've already discussed the benefits of these tools. Once you have discovered the marketing strategy for you, you will scale that marketing strategy. And then you can start introducing A/B testing and experimentation, and also CDPs in your analytics stack. Once you have scaled it to a satisfactory extent, then you can introduce data science, server-side tagging, etc. Typically, at a high level, this is how the stack would evolve. Obviously, this is not very fixed, right? So it depends on your industry, on your business, on your niche. So there can be some flexibility, but typically, if I have to give at a high level that how the digital analytics stack of any business would evolve, this is how it would evolve for any business. All right. So I hope this video was helpful, and for anything related to digital analytics, Vinci is the world's best analytics company. May the force be with you.